Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the late tackle ahead of Game Week 5 with myself and a very, 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 very special guest. One of my favourite FPL content creators and my number one source of trusted football tactic advice. I listen to you more than anyone else, James, when it comes to football. It's Planet FPL's James. It's an absolute delight to have you here. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Thank you for the nice intro and for the invite. I'd say you're on the blag there, but I actually know you're telling the truth.
Oh, no, it's sad. It's actually, I'm a bit of a fanboy whenever I come on these streams with you. It's a real honour. How's things going? Good season so far? 780k, not too bad?
Yeah, not too bad. I was looking a lot better sort of 7 days ago prior to Game Week 4. Missing out on the captaincy last week. Was at 215k, but yeah, I can't grumble at that start. It's gone quite well so far.
You've done your usual thing, though. You've blown chips in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Free hit,
yeah.
Wildcard gone? No,
yeah.
Wildcard's still there. Free
Listen,
hit.
You've been scrambling around for the last hour going, when should we use chips? It's a couple of weeks ago, I think.
I would like to read my conversation with you in the prep to this stream. Hi, James. Do you have a chip strategy, or at least a rough one? A laughing cry emoji face. Great. Can I have it? Bench boost 1, free hit 2, triple captain whenever. Fantastic. And that's the level of insight people can expect tonight.
Pretty much, yeah, basically. No, we'll discuss some good bits and some good ideas, I'm sure.
How did they go? How did the first 2 weeks go, though? Obviously, the rank was 200k, so I guess they went pretty well first couple of weeks.
Game Week 1 was very mediocre on our bench boost in that week. Only got 12 extra. So that wasn't great. Game Week 2 free hit was very good. And then I had a stormer in Game Week 3, actually, with the team that obviously I still had from Game Week 1. And last week was difficult. So Game Week 2, Game Week 3 ranks were, I think, 800k and 200k, respectively, something like that. So you get them early sort of good Game Week ranks at the start. That's going to obviously be beneficial. But it's so early. It's too early to be looking at ranks, really.
I mean, you got off to a really good start last year,
yes.
didn't you? I mean, you were top 10k quite early on,
5k.
Yeah.
When Saka scored twice for Arsenal against Southampton and Haaland blanked. Because I went without Haaland and Salah, didn't I, for that period?
Yeah. And where'd you finish?
50k, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame you didn't win the whole game, but it's respectable.
It's more respectable than my usual end results, as to be honest.
Hi to everyone in the chat. Great to see you all. Pajita says Planet FPL is one pod that I listen to every week. Yep, I was listening to Ask James. Ask James is my favourite. It's just my favourite stream. Like there is. I love it. It's just you rambling your way through an hour's worth of questions. It's amazing.
Pretty much, yeah. Loads of nonsense, pretending I care.
Absolute nonsense. FPL Swap, Planet FPL is a magic pod. Bella says, yes, James, big fan. Ospike says, hi, guys. Yana's in the chat and in the other room. She says, king of all guests.
Bless.
There you go.
Thank you.
You've got a hard act to follow. Because I don't know if you saw a couple of weeks ago, we had FPL Nightmare on.
Oh, he's great.
Isn't he?
He's so good, yeah. He's so refreshing. It's a very new take on Conte. I love him. He's great.
I can't imagine you adopting the same kind of, level of... I don't even know how to describe his content. Enthusiasm that he has for his videos. Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It's great to see someone doing something a little bit different in the space.
Yep. How long have you been doing FPL stuff for now? You've been around a
while. This is season 9 for us now.
Season 9.
You've been doing it for longer, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I probably have. Yeah. I mean, Scoutcast was probably in the early days with Mark. That must have been about... Do you know what, actually? I had to look back at some of the older episodes, because when we had Andy Slippers on, it was me, Luke, and Andy, and I was reminiscing, because obviously we used to do the Scoutcast back in the day, but it wasn't as long ago as I thought it was. I think it might be about the same. I think it might be about 8 or 9 years to when I was first on, but it feels like...
Sort of around about 17, 18, felt like
loads of
around
about 17, 18.
Up from when we was one of them.
Yeah. Still enjoying it?
Yeah, very much so. If I wasn't, I wouldn't do it, mate.
Yeah.
Not that I want to do a different job, but yeah.
New rules?
New rules. I work for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get fussy about it. It's like regular question. What would you do to change the game? And it's just like, well, I'm going to play it anyway. So whatever they do with the game, we'll take it. Yeah, I think it's nice. The DEF CON twist is he's nice. We had so many players in the game that you just couldn't go near, and I was having a conversation the other day about really considering someone like Casado now, for example, just would never have been a thing. So I think that element to it is quite nice and refreshing.
I've got a glass of wine tonight, James.
Nice. I don't. I've quit drinking.
Have you?
No, don't be stupid. I'll be drinking in the Amex tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, I can't believe you're going and I'm not.
Well,
Although you did just very nicely offer me your tickets just before this stream started.
yeah, but I wasn't really going to give it to you, was I? You said you'd
I
rather
wouldn't sit
die.
with you. Oh, there's no. My dad loves to sit with the away fans when he goes to see Brighton. He not in a while, but he always used to ask me, "Do you want to come West Ham? Come West Ham away with me?" And I'm like, "Dad, I know you. You've got no ability to be like subtle, you know. Like it's just I know you'd cheer if Brighton scored, and then you'd get your head kicked in. So it's not worth
West
it."
Ham, it's not Upton Park, mate. It's just a shopping
true.
centre now, isn't it?
True. I mean, he's been. This was probably the Championship year, so I reckon he's probably been to Millwall and some of those other grounds with the away fans. He's a brave man. We're going to actually talk about Brighton Spurs because it's very fitting to have you on with Brighton Spurs taking place tomorrow. Game I always look forward to. We always have some good games. Would you say we've had the better of you last few years?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 3-2 last year. We were 2-0 up.
2-0 up.
4-2 the year before, and you were 4-0 up.
Yeah.
4-1 at our place the end of last season. So yeah, definitely.
And you're not feeling particularly optimistic.
No, I'm still pretty concerned about us going forward. I think it's fine because he had to focus on the defensive aspect of the game, and clearly that's improving. Although we're clearly outperforming what we should be doing so far. But yeah, it's still got concerns going forward, very much so. I think like we've looked at our the better teams that we've played. PSG and Man City are the two best performances this season.
Like us.
Wasn't convincing the other
against
night.
the big boys. Yeah.
Even in like West Ham last week, I didn't like the way we played in the first half. We scored, then there's a red card. We score again straight away. It's game done. Burnley opening day, we only really played well for sort of 15, 20 minutes. Bournemouth mullered us, slaughtered us in game 3. But then we were great at City in 2, and we were really unfortunate in the Super Cup final. So the defensive side is really coming along, and frankly, it obviously had to. Now it's about developing the offensive side. It's not quite there yet, in my opinion.
You happy though with Frank?
Yeah, it's early doors. I mean, he's made as good a start as I think we could have hoped for. We're in the top 4. Let's stop the count basically at the moment, considering I was bottom 4 last year, right? I'm sceptical to where he can take us in the long term in terms of my vision of what I would like my football club to be. But yeah, he's come in. He seems to have got the players on board. There was a lot of talk, players are going to leave if Ange goes. Like, no one's gone and stuff. They all seem really happy. He's very likeable. I think he actually has a closer relationship with the players than Ange did. Ange was actually quite aloof with a lot of the players. They found him quite cold and distant a lot. So, yeah, pretty happy with Thomas Frank so far.
Were you in the camp that you wanted Postecoglou out?
He had to go.
Yeah.
I
remember listening to your pods, and even before the Europa League final, you're like, it doesn't matter what happens.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't want him to go per se, but he had to go. Unfortunately, I was fortunate enough to be in Bilbao. There was no one I wanted to see lift the cup more than him. Like, I felt he deserved it so much, but at the same time, you're like, can't continue. I mean, 4 days later, we're playing you. As I said, you beat us 4-1. Yes, I know we were drunk and stuff. Annihilated. And you've sat through so many games of that. And it's just defensively, it can't work. I fear for Mark a bit.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was going to say, what do you make of the Postecoglou to Forest signing? Because, I mean, it is a big change, isn't it? I mean, you can't get much of a bigger swap than Nuno to Postecoglou. The early signs... Well, I say the early signs haven't been great. I mean, I thought they were pretty good against Swansea for a lot of the game. I mean, it was obviously a complete reserve team, but I thought they played all right. They had some good patterns of play. It looked like the Yanj ball was like kind of coming through, but conceding stupid goals near the end of the game and end up losing the match. And it's a weird one to come in 4 or 5 games into a season, isn't it? And completely change the way a team is playing when they're so used to the way. Yeah,
he's gonna have to. I really hope that it works out, but I think most of us are very sceptical about it.
Yeah. Well, I've got 3 Forest players in my team.
Okay.
And I've got one of the nearly man, who was Gibbs White, who nearly signed for Spurs. I know that you were a bit gutted that he didn't.
Oh, yeah, I wanted him a lot badly. Yeah, he was the player. I got asked the question on one of my summer streams. It got listed about 4 players. Forget that. I'd love to have Morgan Gibbs-White. And then the news broke about 48 hours later that it was, here we go. So I was over the moon. So yeah, I was gutted about that. But apparently he's not playing well at the moment. So my Forest patrons keep telling me.
It's because I bought him in, James. I bought him in and he's immediately forgotten how to play football. He's not going to get into the England team and he's going to be benched by Postecoglou in the Revolution.
Who do you think you'll sell him to in Game Week 7?
Well, Game Week 7 is going to be Wildcard, I think.
Really?
The way things are going. Yeah. I mean, I'll get up the chip strategy. I mean, if we can even call what you sent me a chip strategy, but we're going to try and make the most of it. This is also the most pathetic screen I think I've ever made in my life. You've already played your free hit and your bench boost, so we can't even talk about those. I asked you who you thought the best triple captain was this side of Christmas, and you straight away said Haaland in 6, which is where I'm currently leaning. And then we talked about Wildcard, and for me, it is like you say, you've got 13. I think it's definitely in 13, or it's in 7. I can't. With the way at the moment, I'm leaning towards wildcarding in 7, and then that would mean obviously the triple captain then being played, somewhere else. But I could triple captain in 6 and then leave the wildcard a bit later. But it's just whether I want the Arsenal players coming in. I mean, are you set on triple captain in 6?
I probably won't even own him but I think it's the best choice.
Really?
Yeah, I don't play to form and templates, and I just prefer to sit behind a sofa, mate, don't I?
You don't play to getting in probably
I
greatest
wouldn't debate
goal scorer.
Haaland triple captaincy. Ultimately, look, it's League Cup next midweek, so he's going to get a rest there. They don't play in the Champions League till the Wednesday afterwards. It's the perfect solution for him, where he's got home game at the Etihad against weak opponent. He's highly likely 90 minutes. Don't overthink it. It's like the fixtures have come out for November this morning. I was saying to you before we started a little bit, like 13-15 starts getting really dangerous because of the spacing. Just while we was waiting, I had a look at the announcement for the TV picks in November. So we can now know that Liverpool will play at West Ham on the Sunday, Sunderland at home on the Wednesday, and then Leeds away on the Saturday. So even Salah over those, and then it's Champions League. The reason Leeds is Saturday because it's Champions League the following Tuesday. So even with someone like Salah, he may get a rest across one of those 3 league games. You'd look at that now. If you were thinking Salah or Isak triple captains at home to Sunderland, which is a midweek set of fixtures in game week 14, that's now really dangerous. So I wouldn't, if you've got Haaland, I wouldn't overlook. Just
so are you
sticking on
saying
next week.
use it soon then?
Yeah, I think
get it out
so,
of the
yeah.
way.
I would, yeah. With most of them, I'd try and get them out of the way. It's what I keep hearing from people about bench boosts. It's like, I wish I could get that out of the way now, basically.
Yeah, I mean, other like good-looking weeks. I mean, you did say to me in a semi-jokey way, triple captain whenever, right? But there is a case for it because you could use it in 7. Man City play Brentford. I know Brentford have been decent, but it's still Man City. I mean, Chelsea Liverpool play that match. It's probably the only time the only play you'd use it on in that week. Game week 8 is Man City v Everton. They're at home. Liverpool v Man United. Salah triple captain in that. Is anyone not gonna, is anyone going to be completely like against that idea? You go into game week 9. You got Palmer versus Sunderland as a potential triple captain if you wanted someone a bit different. You go into game week 10. You've got Man City at home to Bournemouth. You've got Liverpool at home to Aston Villa. You've got Arsenal playing Burnley. If you wanted to give it on a Gyökeres, like do you know what I mean? There always seems to be a chance to use it right up until that 12-13 pick.
Unlike with the other chips, you're not planning for the triple captaincy because presumably you're still in most cases wanting the plan to have player X as a captain anyway. So like most people, if you've already used a triple captain, many people will still obviously be going to Haaland next week if they don't already own. So the fact that you're using the triple captain doesn't change anything on your path. So if you suddenly went, right, no, it's not next week, say he's yellow flag next week for whatever reason, you're like, oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, fine. You might get to 9 and have Palmer and go, oh yeah, right, he's got Carabao Cup the midweek afterwards, Sunderland at home. Okay, again, this feels like maybe a really safe one to go and invest in. Whereas you might look at Salah as at home to United in 8. Again, I'm sure he gets obviously strong minutes in that, but they then do have a Wednesday, Saturday schedule immediately off the back of that. So if they were comfortable in the game, do they take him off early? these things are going to become more and more prevalent. Now, we've gone through a period where primarily everyone's just played once a week, right? It's gone now. It's over.
Yeah.
That was a strong reason to use chips towards the start, because most teams are... Take Palace as an example. So Palace have got a 7-day gap between West Ham this coming weekend and then Liverpool next weekend. Between now and the end of the year, the most they'll ever have a gap is 5 days, and that's only after international breaks. Otherwise, it's every 4 days or so. And that's for Palace. It's not going to be any different, really, for your Liverpools and Cities, etc.
Yeah. I mean, at least... so what are you saying it could affect the... Because, I mean, players like Haaland, Salah, Palmer... They're going to play, right? Like we're not expecting. I mean, I know you mentioned Salah. Maybe could he have a rest one of those game weeks? But realistically, we think they're probably going to start.
But I think if you were planning triple captaincy for now, if you looked at Salah's fixtures for the rest of this year, I think you would look at, say, Sunderland at home in 14, considering he's just played Burnley away and just played Leeds away. You look at Sunderland at home 14. If you're just looking at an individual tracker of fixture, you go, yeah, Sunderland at home 14. A wildcard 13, which is what we've discussed. I'll triple captain Salah in 14. Great. But as just said, it's a Wednesday night fixture when they play 3 days before and then 3 days afterwards and then 3 days afterwards again. That's risky, isn't it? Who wants to go into that when the deadline will be the Tuesday and thinking, oh, do hope Mo starts tomorrow night? Because although he'll play 95% of the games... The chance that if he does get a rest, it's probably a fixture like that under that sort of circumstance, right?
Well, it's what other changes are made as well, right? Like, does Robertson come in? Does that affect them if it's not Kirkes and they've got used to him? Do they play someone at right back to give Frimpong a risk? Like, what if Bradley isn't back? Like, there's going to be certain key personnel who miss out. And, Chelsea could do something like we saw them do the other night, right? When they rested Cucurella, Palmer was on the bench, Buonanotte got a start, which I don't think anyone was really expecting. Like, you do wonder if there could be a few experimental lineups that happen.
You mentioned Chelsea, right? Remember midweek set of fixtures last year? They went to Southampton. Palmer did play. I think a lot of us captained him. I was one. And they won 5-1, but they picked a really weak team. So they go to Leeds in game week 14.
Oh, was that when Jackson was benched?
Might have been, yeah. Most of the team got benched.
Bought him in for that week, so yeah, I remember that one well.
So take that same midweek, right? They play Leeds on the Wednesday night. They've got the same thing as Liverpool. They're guaranteed Arsenal at home now on the Sunday before, and they've got Bournemouth away, which is a nightmare game in terms of the amount of effort you have to put into that, on the Saturday afterwards. We know that's a Saturday because they're then away to Atalanta the following Tuesday. So they play Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday. So I want to hold Palmer for Leeds away in 14. There's every chance he's not going to start.
Oh, James, what are you doing to us?
So you asked me before, I was like, what do you want to do about chip talk? I'm like, well, yeah, we'll do it. Don't worry, mate. And that's why I'm saying you can't just look at the fixtures. You've got to look a little bit deeper at certain things like that. So 14, on naked eye now, you'd go best captaincies, Palmer away to Leeds, Salah at home to Sunderland. I'm saying to you that there's a chance those two players might not even start that way.
Are you overthinking it?
No, I'm not, because I'll get it out of the way on something else. But if I've still got the triple captaincy there, I need to feel comfortable that my player's definitely going to start. So a flip of that over that same period, we can't quite yet know City's fixtures, right? But City have got Leeds at home on the Saturday. And before that, they play Leverkusen at home on the Tuesday. So the space in there already it looks better for Haaland for, say, Leeds at home in 13. Now, I'm not going to use it in 13 because I'll probably be wildcard in there. Yeah. But that's why I'm saying, if you're looking now at Haaland in 6, there's no reason to overlook that because the spacing either side of the fixture is ideal. If Haaland was to play 90 minutes at Huddersfield, bizarrely, in the Carabao Cup next week, then there's a few people probably going to be going, well, why has that happened? But he's not, is he? We know that's the rest.
For me, the triple captain is... I know I've just said, you could play it in lots of spaces, but for me, Haaland is by far the best triple captain this season. Like, I will be using the chip on him. So if I'm trying to maximise the best fixture for him, it's either Burnley in 6, it's Leeds at home in 13, like you said, potential wildcard territory, or it's in 15 when he plays Sunderland at home. I mean, Sunderland are an interesting one because out of the three teams, I think defensively they've looked strong. They've had the 2-0 loss to Burnley, okay, but in other games they've looked a bit more resolute. You've got to think the Leeds game in 13, it might be the best one of the three because Leeds are a bit more expansive. I mean, we saw with Burnley, didn't we? They can put men behind the ball, force them wide things like that, but it doesn't seem to put you off.
Well, I mean, Leeds by the Arsenal game have conceded, one goal in the other three, haven't they? So we've got one game to assess where we go. They've played a really good side and they got hammered. But I think Arsenal only had the 5 shots on target, didn't they? So, yeah, triple captain, ultimately, I don't think you don't need to plan for it because you'll still be planning in your mind certain captains for certain game weeks, etc. It's when you feel comfortable. And if I end up with Haaland this time next week, I'm pretty sure I'll be going triple captain on him. I think that's clearly the best shout.
David Kent says, what about waiting for a possible double game week? For triple captain, any chance?
How long have you got, mate? I'm going to do a piece on this on ours next Tuesday, but I'll happily discuss it a bit now. I was just chatting with our good buddy Harry Daniels and a few of our patrons about this as well, because there's a lot of talk about Palace and this potential clash of Carabao Cup quarter-final with their final Europa Conference League game, which essentially falls into the same midweek. So a lot of people are running with a theory at the moment that if Palace have a cup quarter final, it may have to be played at a weekend and therefore a Premier League game gets postponed. Now it would create a blank for Palace under that circumstance, but wouldn't probably create a double till 2026. But for the other fixture that may have to get postponed because that cup tie has to take place on the weekend, if that doesn't involve teams involved in Europe, that could get brought forward. So it's subject to draw a little bit as well. I will tell you what I told Harry and our patrons earlier today. I don't think, even if Palace do get to the quarterfinal, I don't think that it will happen on a weekend. I think they'll just make Palace play Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. Palace have got cups from Finland at home on the Thursday in the Conference League. They'll probably already be qualified. I think... Do you remember when Liverpool had to play a youth team at Villa a couple of years ago in the quarter-final because they had the Club World Cup the next day?
Yeah. They had to make 2 teams, didn't they? Because they couldn't travel back in time.
I used examples where I said, right, so imagine Palace draw Liverpool as an example in the quarter-final. So, right, Palace-Liverpool probably has to take place the weekend of 17. So you go, right, we'll postpone Leeds against Palace. That can be played in 2026. Cool. But what are you going to do about Tottenham v Liverpool when they're both in the Champions League and there's nowhere else to fit fixtures? How are you going to move that one out there? You can bring that forward to the midweek before because it's only Palace playing in Europe. Yeah, you could, but Sky have probably picked it for the 4:30 game on a Sunday and ain't going to want to lose that. So there's lots of if, buts and maybes. That League Cup 4th round is between game weeks 9 and 10. So we'll know by then if Palace have got to the quarterfinals. So running up to sort of the period of 16, 17. We've got loads of time to look at it. We will get 5 extra transfers in 16. But I definitely would not be holding the triple captaincy to use it on the possibility of, great, so Bournemouth and Burnley's got moved because Palace have drawn Burnley in the cup and now Bournemouth have got a double. Or I wouldn't be doing that.
Well, I've seen your captain this week. I don't know. You know, maybe don't completely well. What about this one?
Yeah, but that's because, in all honesty, my options this week for captaincy as are insert bleep wherever you want, mate.
I want to talk about captaincy because we had a question earlier about ranking captains. I think it's a tough week. I mean, one other thing on the double front, though, there was a tweet from Anything Liverpool earlier. The Met Office have issued a yellow weather warning, a number of alerts which could impact the Merseyside derby between Liverpool and Everton. It's like every time they play each other, there's some kind of natural phenomenon that happens and the game gets postponed.
Yeah, that's probably
anything in this?
The best thing that could happen to my FPL week. Well, actually, that and Haaland just getting a minor ankle injury that would keep him out of game week 6 would also be quite handy. No, probably not. Consider as well, Goodison Park was very, very old as well. Also had an impact last year, right? They weren't really refurbing the place.
I didn't go for Isak because I had to deal with, I had too many players from that game. And yeah, I mean, my season was a disaster anyway, but that really didn't help, that postponement last year.
No, it's very unlikely Liverpool-Everton would get postponed. Did you say yellow warning?
Yellow warning.
I mean, it's not even like a red warning, is it? Like, come on, it'd be fine.
Yep.
I'm sure Andy Martin's tweeting and putting the scaremongering amongst everybody.
Go there and get a nice selfie by the ground. Come on, Andy, if you're watching, pull your finger out. Pajita says, this is why I've watched his channel since the first episode. Only the best graphics. I really do think we should come off the screen because it is embarrassing that this is even a thing. I think we both agree triple captain 6 is probably the best. The wildcards in 13 I like if I don't play it in 7. Bench boost, I mean, my plan is to play it around the AFCON when we get the 5 transfers. Just means I can maybe have a bit of fun and just bring in a couple of like fun players. I mean, the bench boost is a funny one though, isn't it? Because I mean, you mentioned about wanting to get rid of it early. There's a lot of people thinking of playing it this week with your Dubravkas, your Estevs, you know, Rodon against Wolves. Like, I get it. It just seems to be every year a chip that I feel like it should be better than it is. Like, we're getting an extra 4 players playing, but 20 points is like an absolute result. You're hoping for one player to get something. If you're not playing it this week, you're probably waiting till 8, which is when I'm probably going to play it, which means you've got Leeds and Burnley playing each other. I mean, I'm probably going to have like Lyle Foster or someone, you know, in that game. Foster, Estev, Dubravka. I'll probably be triple Burnley on the bench boost. What a pathetic chip, really.
I really wouldn't overthink this where there's good opportunities to get rid of it. I'd say if you've got doubts, don't. I've had a conversation with a few people today where it's like there's doubts on a few. I've got Murillo. You don't want to be in that scenario where it's like, I think he'll play. I've got Murillo and Larson shacked through the bench boost. It's like, if I can tell you they're going to start, and you look good. But if they don't play, you're down to 13 players. It doesn't look great. This week appeals because of the combination where you've got essentially Burnley have got an okay home game. Wolves and Leeds playing each other. Sunderland are at home as well. Fulham, Brentford, there's a few enablers from that one.
King in a lot of
teams. And 8 works really nice because essentially you've got the bottom 6 in the betting all playing each other. Now, I don't suppose there's many enablers knocking about from West Ham, Brentford, but then you've got the bottom 4 effectively playing each other with Wolves going to Sunderland and Leeds going to Burnley. So 8, if you're sitting there with like Dubravka, Rodon, Estev, it looks great. The problem with 8 for other people, you mentioned Josh King, they've got Arsenal. So then that looks ugly. Also, to be people getting held back this week because they've got things like Tarkowski and Dewsbury Hall away to Liverpool, and you think, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So he's really Dewsbury Hall also away to Everton that same week, game week 8, similar with any other Everton players. So it can be quite circumstantial with what you've got. We looked last week on our Weekender podcast about wildcarding for 4 to bench boost in this week. And there are a few weeks where I think you can set that. But I would say, without knowing what people have got in their teams, this week is an opportunity. 8 might land really nice. And there's a number of people going to land really nice for game week 11. He's another one that might look quite nice. For bench boost, you got things that week like people might be stuck with people like Diouf from the start of the season. Or if you're like me, you've got Wan-Bissaka with a bellyache. Home to Burnley. You've got like Nico Williams at home to Leeds. There's a few things in game week 11, Burnley also at West Ham, that might land quite nice for a few people in that week as well. You mentioned using it over AFCON because you think that will be fun. I presume you're thinking with that, I'll have spare money because Salah's gone and I've got loads of free transfers, so I can probably put in players who are a bit more expensive. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be fun bench boosting over Christmas, mate.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
That's the problem.
I mean, you're bench boosting in theory. The thing with Christmas is Christmas rotation doesn't mean like a player's not going to play 90 minutes. Right, they're still going to come on and play. What you're bench boosting is the guaranteed starters from crap teams. So you're still going to get your Rodons and whoever, but maybe you can go up from like a Leeds defender to a Brentford defender who's like 4-5 or something like that. You're still picking nailed on players, but just maybe a slightly higher price bracket. Not that they're necessarily like the better players.
It depends what you've got in the rest of your team, right? So if you carried someone like Kirkes over the Christmas period, as an example, you're probably going to be quite worried because you know that probably over one of those fixtures at some point, there's a chance Robertson's going to play the 90 minutes.
The 90, yeah. You need to build a team of players who are going to play, at least play some minutes. You can't have anyone over the Christmas period who could miss out completely.
So one of the real appeals of 13, for example, is probably Man City swing of fixtures there. It looks particularly good and it lasts for quite a while. So, but with City players, with a City player, if they get left out of the team, Pep might not even make a sub. So if you've got like an 8 Nori or a Reinders, if they don't start, they might not even see the pitch. So it's the psychological nagging at you with the bench boost that you do ultimately want to get 15 starters to feel comfortable from that perspective. The better the team, when they rotate from the first 11, the more likely you are to end up with a 0 minutes, right? Yeah.
I like this week for the bench boost. I think if you've got the double burn, if you've got Dubravka and Estev, and if you haven't got Reinders or Dewsbury Hall, like you mentioned, and you've got, you know, another kind of cheapy midfielder or something like that who's got a decent game, I think if you're looking at your team and thinking this bench is all right, I would just play it for all the reasons.
What would you want from it at this stage of the season?
Points wise?
Yeah, just anything in the first half of the season. What do you actually want from your gain of your 4 weakest players?
You want 20 points.
Nah, it's single game weeks, mate.
Yeah.
It's overestimating it.
I don't think it is.
Realistically, in the first half of a season, realistically, how many times would your bench just exceed 20 points in the first half of a season with no doubles or nothing?
You're getting 8 points from them turning up, so you want at least double that. You want one player to get you something, like
but
one
after
clean sheet.
battles, just having the players turn up. So I would be happy at this stage of the season, genuinely, with one return. Anything above 10 on bench boost in the first half of the season, I think it's absolutely fine.
So you're saying you want, what, 15? Like
I'd
less?
want 20 but I'm saying, as long as it doesn't like completely flop, it's like the triple captaincy. It's like we obsess about or getting someone in who can get like a hat-trick or something. Haaland is as likely as anyone of doing that, obviously, next week. But ultimately, all I really don't want to do when I triple captaincy is see like that 1 pointer times 3. I'm just happy with a return. Give me a little bit extra, yeah, that's fine. And it'd be the same with the bench boost. So I had one, I was speaking to someone earlier today, he's actually got 2 Burnley players and 2 Forest players as their weakest, right? So it's like Williams, Anderson, Esteve, Dubravka, for example. Like, well, they're playing each other, but I'm like, under this format, at this stage, one return now might be 12, 14 points for you. Yeah. It's fine.
Well, you get a clean sheet from one of those, and you're looking at 14 points, like probably like in total, because you know you can add a couple of bonus, something like that. That wouldn't be too bad. I think you want from 4 players. I still think you want 2 returns.
How many times have you hit 20 points on a bench boost in a double game week?
Well, I accidentally bench boosted and got 20 points. So
yeah,
maybe I'm taking it from that.
Where's Shimikas over your shoulder? Is he still there?
He's down there somewhere. What a legend. I'd say bench boost. I've been in and around 15, 20 points. I'd say most years. But yeah, I mean, I have mostly played in double game week.
I'd want 16 in a double. Just looking at that as 4 players playing twice, doing absolutely nothing, 16 points. So why should I expect much more than 8 in a single?
I know what you're saying. It's 16 points in the double, 8. You're getting 8 in the single. I just think you get one return. You're pushing that up to 14, 15 points.
Yeah, and then that's good.
Is 2 returns from your bench, like when they've got good fixtures? Like you're only going to play it when they've got decent home games or something like that. Is that
These are also our worst players, right? They sit on our bench most weeks for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Okay. What did you always get? What did your bench always get?
12. So mine got saved purely.
I
had Lucas Perry clean sheet against Everton. That was it. I had
50, you were happy with 12?
Yeah, fine.
Or more?
Yeah, we all want more. We all want everything. It's like if Haaland's sitting there with 15 minutes to go and he's got 5 next week, you'd all want the 6th, wouldn't you? Everyone wants more.
Let us know in the chat what you'd be happy with, because it's a good point. Do you know what? I've painted the bench boost with the same brush, because you're right. We do often play. Well, we mostly play it in the double game weeks. I mean, it's the same with all the chips, right? We look at free hits and we think we're hoping for 40 points. We're looking at triple captain and hoping for big hauls and everything like that. But you have got to half the expectation, because it's normally going to be played with half the. I hadn't really thought of it like that.
Well, even free hit now, it's so perfectly conceivable that anybody who free hits in the first half of the season is going to score less points than the team they sell. You almost only need to get the captaincy wrong as part of that, and
question
you could
for
be
you.
in trouble.
So last year, you can have half a glass of wine. Last week, feels like a bloody year ago, my team was a bit of a wreck. So I was debating the free hit just to sort it out for that week. In the end, I didn't. I took a hit. I brought in Munoz and Semenyo. Went okay. Obviously, Semenyo got the goal and assist. Munoz got the clean sheet. All fine. The free hit team I would have got was 25 points ahead of what I ended up with. But I'm coming into Game Week 5 with Munoz and Semenyo, Munoz has got West Ham, Semenyo's at home to Newcastle. Like, my team would be a lot worse off if I didn't have those 2 players. Would you take that 25 points and run from the free hit, or would you risk it and gamble it and hope you can get a similar return and have a better team around this period?
The gain I had in 2 when I used it, I think was 25 points. So it was roughly about that. But ultimately, it was Gyökeres captain.
Yeah.
That was essentially the difference in game week 2. So that's what I said. If you do that, you could get all the other 10 decisions right. But if you sell your captain, who would have done well, and the guy you want to captain instead, how many people just free hit last week because they've been desperate to get Salah and maybe not had Haaland on free hit last week, as an example? So, yeah, I think Gain, I'd be happy with Gain on a free hit at the moment. Obviously, of course, you want to swing for the trees and hope it gets you sort of plus 25 or so. And that's the kind of minimum I'd want doing it across a blank or a double, because we can relate that to the amount of additional fixtures.
Yep.
Ultimately,
it's tough
football's so unpredictable
in
any given week. That free hit I did in 2, I forget how many I scored. But I had 3 City players all blanked.
You dramatically left your camera, James. It's cut out.
It wouldn't be BlackBox without some sort of technical error, would it?
It was a nice fitting black box actually in that area, so that's good.
Am I back?
And as Mikael says, James on BlackBox, nice. You're back. Yeah.
Okay. So I free hitted. I went like quite all in. So I had 3 Arsenal players against Leeds, all did fine. I had Bournemouth players against Wolves, did fine. I had Triple City against Tottenham, bombed.
Yeah.
So you only need those sort of results on a free hit. Tottenham winning 2-0 at Man City, that's a big surprise, and it goes wrong.
Well, you could easily free hit out and end up on a negative. Because I'm looking at 11 for mine. That's when Liverpool and Man City play each other. So I'm thinking, okay, I can free hit that week. I can take out all those players. Hope that's a relatively low scoring game, and target some of the games. What happens if that game's 3-3? And Haaland's got 2 and Salah's got 2.
So, interesting debate I've been having this week on bits of our content is about free hitting in game week 6. And I said, and I think this is something to think about for those who intend to sort of wildcard, say, straight after the deadline tomorrow, or free hit straight after the deadline. I'd probably say where you can wait, because if Haaland got injured on Sunday, you have to ask yourself, would you still do it?
Yeah. I really like that when you said that. So that is
like, it's question. Fine if you was like, yeah, I'd still do it. I'd captain Foden.
You'd make
do
the
this,
most
that,
of
and
it,
the other.
but would you have done it?
Like, I don't particularly like using either of those 2 chips in 6 because it feels so heavy as an option for Haaland. But also at the same time, the opposite is, considering what we've said about having the gain of free hit, if you don't have Haaland and you don't intend to have him otherwise, you could free hit with Haaland in 6, and if he goes off, you'll gain.
Yeah.
Although God knows what his EO is going to be next week. So
I think if anyone's got Haaland and hasn't had to use a chip to bring him in, on a free hit or a wildcard or something like that, then he's going to be triple captain, right? Like, what else are you waiting for if you're like everything we've discussed? It just seems quite an easy decision.
Yeah, for me, there's no.
But I triple captained against Southampton last year. Single game weeks are tough. Because you just never know what could happen in that.
But also as well, even next week as well, you've probably got to ask yourself with Haaland, subject to maybe where you are rank-wise and stuff. But again, that doesn't really matter. I'd be more interested in what like the elite players are doing at this sort of stage of the season. If you don't triple captain Haaland next week, as a captain, he might be a loser in your book.
Yeah.
So even factor that in.
Yeah. I mean, you got Gyökeres at home at West Ham the week after. I mean, that's not exactly a bad fixture, is it? Like, if you do wildcards or free hit in 6, you've got a ready-made good option in 7 as well. Obviously, not the same level as Haaland, but you would still expect Arsenal to score a couple versus West Ham in that game.
West Ham have kept clean sheets last 2 times they've been to the Emirates.
They're not going to keep a clean sheet this time.
And it's 3 days after a Champions League game, and they go to Newcastle 3 days before that. That's relevant. And again, I think the schedule looks great for Haaland in 6.
Okay. Well, I think you're being very kind to West Ham there, but yeah.
I've got to, haven't I? The boss who pays the bills is the West Ham fan. I ain't got much choice.
That is true. How is Suj? I haven't seen him in ages.
He's still crying from last Saturday, I should imagine.
Good. Yeah, good. That's what I'd like to hear. This was the wildcard team you put together. If you are thinking of playing a chip this week, are some wildcards being played, and chips are being played, early on, like you said. You sent me this, and then you said I effing hate it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sell this to anyone. I think it's absolutely terrible.
This is what you put together: is Petrovic in goal with Richards, Tosin, Van Dijk, and Gabriel. Semenyo captain. Like you see, there's a theme here with old Semenyo these days. Captain. Palmer, Gakpo, Haaland, Watkins, and Pedro. Dubravka, Dewsbury Hall, King, Rodon. People are going to be shouting at this and going, why the hell have you still got Watkins? What is he doing? I'm guessing he's the placeholder for Gyökeres, right? Because he's got 2 better games in theory.
There is that, yeah.
I look at this team and I think...
Meh.
Nothing really...
Yeah, exactly.
Worries me about there's no player here that I don't own that I'm scared. I mean, obviously Haaland, but it's not the week for him, is it? Arsenal away.
That team's shocking. I mean, ultimately, you're wild carding now. I'm not going to give it the big one. We did this on our podcast this morning. I assessed it. So it's like you're wild carding now and knowingly wild carding without the best player in the game this week, which is still ultimately Salah. But for someone like me who's sitting there with 1 free transfer, I've got to factor in, right, there's going to be then the -4 to get to Haaland next week. So you might as well just stick him in. He scored and they lost 5-1 at Arsenal last year, right? So you might as well just stick him in. It feels like an awful week for anybody that's not got Mo captain. I think all the alternatives are very meh. And it's a good week, I suppose Mark would say, probably a good week to maybe take a punt on someone else.
Surely you'd go Palmer captain though.
Not convinced personally. I've kind of been pushing the narrative for a few weeks that I think this is an awful fixture for Newcastle on Sunday. So I'm now going to back it all in with Semenyo, basically. I am captain Semenyo in my normal team anyway. So Salah's standout captaincy this week by a long way. But I think after Salah, I'd make a case for Mateta.
So even if you had Palmer, you'd still be going Semenyo?
Yeah. Well, I'd say top 3 for me captaincy this week. I'd probably go Salah, Mateta, Semenyo.
Okay. Pedro in the reckoning?
A lot of minutes over the last week would bother me.
I mean, this is the 7 wild card that I put together. So it is different to yours. So this has got Raya, Gabriel, so the double defence, Munoz, Share, Xavi Simons, who I want to talk to you a bit about in a bit. Wirtz is still in there, but I think that's dependent on what happens. Semenyo, Reinders, Haaland, Pedro, Gyökeres, Dubravka, Van der Ven, King, and Agbedu. I mean, the big difference with this is obviously you can go much harder on Arsenal in game week 7.
Yeah,
because
you go treble Arsenal, 100%.
Yeah, because you don't want to be you don't want to have Gyökeres against City and Newcastle away. It's tough. You don't want to go double defence against those 2 teams. I mean, Reinders has a better run. Like, do you really want him for that game? And Spurs still have good fixtures. I look at this team, and I think this is. I mean, Wirtz one obviously is dependent on what happens. Probably what even happens this week, right? Because I still think I want to get your take on Wirtz because I think it's interesting with Isak coming in. We're thinking Ekitike, Isak going to fight it out for that number 9 spot. You've got Gakpo on the left, but Slot has come out today and said. I mean, he came out last week and said, "Oh, Ekitike and Isak are the 9s," but then he said, "Oh, Ekitike can also play on the left." So we think those 3 players. There's going to be a hint of rotation amongst those. Wirtz, that means Wirtz is still the most nailed-on attacker, I think, in that side, if you're taking Salah out of the equation. Not been a great start for him, obviously, FPL-wise. Better performance against Atletico. He's not in your team. He's not in the wildcard team you showed earlier. What do you make of him? What do you make of his start?
Wirtz is in my actual team now, at the moment.
Oh, he's in your actual team,
yeah.
Okay. Not in the wildcard team, but in your actual team.
No.
What have you made of him?
No, because if I was wildcard, I'd be getting rid of him.
Yeah.
I think Wirtz, you could probably spin a very similar to narrative to say Gakpo. So I think the Gakpo, you could say, okay, yeah, there's competition of other players. Slot said could play on the left, but with Wirtz, you could easily go, right, well, the midfield's the same as last year. Gravenberch, McAllister, Shabbosh, Schleier, you've still got Curtis Jones there. So I still say there's plenty of people that could impact his minutes. You're walking into Chelsea away, and then fixtures afterwards, Man City away a few later. I mean, if you're going to keep kind of Liverpool coverage of there, I'd say Gakpo. But actually, on my rolling ticker from game week 7 to 11, I've actually got Liverpool bottom.
Right.
Probably just wouldn't bother.
So no Liverpool, yeah. Isak?
Depends how he does between now and then, but good luck putting Haaland, Gyökeres and Isak all in there, right?
Well, and Palmer.
Well, yeah, that was going to be one of my follow-up questions is how are you getting to Palmer for 9?
Well, you're not.
Well, you are. You're selling Haaland.
Yeah,
you can't sell Gyökeres because he's got Burnley and Sunderland in 10 and 11, so you're not doing that.
Yeah, but I mean, the other team we had was Andy's one. Let me just grab that one. If I can find it. I mean, that's the thing. You could argue that having. I mean, this is Andy's one. So this is what he was showing ahead of game week 6. So this has got Palmer in. So I mean, Wirtz has been a terrible bandwagon, obviously, but I mean, this is Andy's one. So it's got Palmer, it's got Gyökeres, it's got Haaland. It's then got Reinders, Anderson, and Paqueta in it as kind of 3 rotating-ish 5/5s. And then it's got like Agbadou, who you'd be rotating with Esteve and Senesi and things like that. So you've got to make sacrifices around those areas if you want those players. I mean, if you want Isak as well, it gets even worse. So you've got to take so much out of the defence to make that work. But you do have players like Senesi, like Anderson, like Lacroix at 5. You could go for Petrovic in goal. And we do have players like Reinders, Anderson, Caicedo, Paqueta at cheap prices. So you can do it. It's just you want to.
Yeah. I prefer this. And timing-wise, a little bit better, arguably. Yeah. I think the setup there with Haaland, another kind of mid-premium price player, and then Palmer is probably nice enough. The thing is, if you commit to Haaland, this is interesting. I'm thinking about this for those who've already used the wildcard or using it like this. If you commit to Haaland, once you hit game week 9, there's quite a rough bit of fixtures there. Villa away, if they improve, is not great. Bournemouth at home doesn't scream to you. Then there's Liverpool at home, and then there's Newcastle away before it swings again. So there could maybe be a temptation to take him out, but then the run swings, so you're going to want to get him back. So I think there could be a bit of a narrative. This is what I'm hoping for someone who's possibly going to go against Haaland next week. I'm hoping that narrative's going to be there in a couple of weeks where people are going, I don't know how I can get to Palmer, I don't know how I can get to Saka and Gyökeres and other players. Because the more heavy you go on individual players, the more you have to scrape around with bits, right? I'd just say for Andy that I think Agbadou's about to become a big risk for Wolves, just as a reference.
Why is that?
Bradley was on, our Wolves correspondent was on the week. He said he's not been playing well. Krejci played in midfield last week, but essentially he's a centre-back. They could drop him into the back 3, and Mosquera moves maybe to right-sided centre-back.
Okay.
Just that's a risky pick.
Bonus Defcon darling. He's been tipped as.
I mean, they don't like going to keep clean sheet ever. If they don't keep one tomorrow, they'll probably never feel like they're going to keep one, I should imagine.
I mean, that is the problem. James, I've got you on it, obviously, to talk about FPL, but as I mentioned at the start, your general football nous is something that's always attracted me.
I've suffered.
In more ways than one. You've been to a lot. You've seen Spurs at their best. You've seen them at their worst, and everything. So I wanted to talk a bit about football generally and like tactics. So if anyone's got any questions for James on just general football stuff, because that's where I want to pick your brains on this episode, then let us know. I thought I'd start with Amorim, though. It'd be great to get your take on United this season. There's a graphic on the screen which shows Man United managers' win percentages since World War II. And obviously Amorim is bottom with a win rate of 36.2.
Could you not find back to World War One? Or?
Yeah, couldn't quite get the stats about that. Can you name any Man United managers going back to World War One?
Yeah, there was Frank McAvenny. You wouldn't know if I was telling the truth or not, would you?
I wouldn't, but let's go with it, and I can use this as a reason why you're on it.
I don't know why I named a former West Ham forward from the 80s, 90s, by the way. I have no idea.
It was very good because I remember like the David Moyes. Wow, giving him some Spanish like tinge there. David Moyes. I remember those days, and it was bad, right? Like a 52.9% win rate, but it felt like the fear factor had gone from what Alex Ferguson had built. He was unlucky. I mean, he inherited a squad which was on the decline. For many reasons. Van Persie came in as a bit of a stopgap, and there was a lot of issues with that team that he came in, and he wasn't really given much of a chance. But I remember it was a pretty poor season that he was there, and Giggs came in, sort of did all right, steadied the ship, and then, I mean, since then it's just got worse and worse and worse. But I didn't think things could get much worse than David Moyes' era. And then you look at some of these names. I mean, you look at maybe Van Gaal's a bit harsh, but you look at Rangnick particularly. Those months under Rangnick is the worst I've seen Man U up until now, I'd say. I mean, Solskjaer had a really, really good period when he first came in, but I mean, in that the season when he got sacked, I mean, they were awful, got absolutely battered by Watford. I remember Ten Hag. I mean, what was the identity there, but I mean, still 54%, win rate. Mourinho years, okay, they had some success, but Jesus, the football that was being played was absolutely terrible. So, I mean, firstly, the win percentage there is bad for Amorim, but how do you compare that to some of the other managers they've had? And do you see any way out for United under him over the next few weeks?
Yeah, there's a way out. I think we have to be careful with these sort of things because we have to know that they sacked off pretty much the second off of last season for Europa. Had I known we was going to do this in detail, though, as I would have very much worn my Lads It's Tottenham t-shirt today as an ode to them. I like him. I like him as a person. I'd quite like it to work out for him. I think, unfortunately, he's not too flexible with his tactics. I have seen him be where he moves to parts of the tens, but not clearly he's not going to, for example, I'm going to go like 5-4-1 or 4-4-2 or do anything different against Chelsea. Look at what Keith Andrews put together for Brentford against Chelsea, which was a kind of really nice setup last week, which actually was a little bit more like a United setup, but actually it's not, is it? Because he played with a front two and he used one of his nines to man-mark Caicedo out the game. And then Maresca had to change his tactics. With United, I imagine most of the other managers in the league think this is great. I don't have to think about the headache. Arteta, interestingly, spoke after Arsenal's win against Forest last week and said he said they had concerns going into the game because they didn't know what Forest were going to do.
Yeah.
Because of not playing Forest, you've never seen Ange Postecoglou at Forest with this team. Is the team going to be on the halfway line? Are they going to press high? Are they going to sit off? Didn't know, right? So actually, from a preparation perspective, it makes it really tough. Everyone knows what to do with United. Now, everyone, I think, knows how to hurt it as well. It's been there. So, although they might have little assets where they improve, so if you watch them against Arsenal opening day, I think you'd go, it was all right. First half, Fulham.
Andy said on BlackBox, that's their best moment of the season.
The way they started at Fulham, game week 2, was pretty impressive. Yep. Then you have the Grimsby thing, and obviously, because they're the biggest club, obviously the scrutiny on them whenever anything goes wrong is so magnified. But then they actually played quite well against Burnley, which probably should have been 3 or 4 up in game week 3. But all we remember afterwards now, a couple of weeks on, they nicked it in the last minute with a pen. That's actually what we remember. And then the weekend, obviously, it went against them. They chased the game, I think, far too early. Can he turn it round? I think he should certainly be given the rest of this period up until the next international break. I think when the fixtures come out, most of us went, those first 5 are grim. And we should acknowledge that. That obviously includes the Chelsea game this weekend. So that they could get beat by Chelsea, they're a great team, that could happen. But then if the performances and results are bad against Brentford and Sunderland, I think it's probably not a turnaround. And ultimately, as I said on my stream earlier today, it might not matter what we think, because if the players have decided he's not the one, there's an inevitable conclusion. And you're starting to hear those little murmurs. I'm not saying they're true, but you're starting to hear little things coming out in the press. And we've seen all the signs of it in the past with United's players, that they start leaking stuff to the press when they want to get a manager out. And it might be if they're not playing for him, doesn't matter how good he is or he isn't, there'll be an inevitable change. They'll have to.
But it's like that meme, isn't it? Which is like the horse and the car, right? And it's the goalkeeper, the defence, the midfield is a joke. Like the midfield seems incredibly easy to bypass. There's no mobility there. Ugarte's been a poor signing. They're playing Casemiro. Mainu's not getting a look in. Fernandes is fantastic, but not playing in the most natural position for him. They're shoehorning like players like Shaw into centre back. Yoro, I don't think has lived up to all the hype that he had. De Ligt's been okay, but not amazing. And then goalkeeper, I mean, what is going on in goal? You know, Bayinder's still there. Onana's been terrible. They brought the new guy in. Is he going to come in and be great? There's still some uncertainty about him from crosses. A couple of bad performances from him, flapping at crosses. The fans are going to be against him, like from the off. He needs to have a strong start. And then you look at the attack. I mean, the attack is Rolls Royce, right? Like if you, on paper, Sesko, Cunha, Mbeumo, like these are like unbelievable players, and it's borne out. I mean, the attack that's on the screen. I mean, third in terms of expected goal non-penalty per 90, 1.68, just below Man City and Chelsea.
I don't know if it's still the case, but I think they were most for shots first 3. I think.
Yeah, I mean chances. They've had the most chances per 90 of all teams in the league. It's the finishing, the XG delta. They're 4 goals down. on where they should be.
If you're going to look at that, you could take a step back and go, well, actually, you've spent a lot of money on Bumo, Cunha. They're playing into a different system that's not normal. Cunha's obviously had injury issues. Then it does need a bit of time to adapt and gel in. I'd accept that. The problem is that Manchester United, you're not going to get the time that you'd get elsewhere. And by the way, it's not a Manchester United criticism. It's just a media scrutiny, how we will scrutinise them because of what they are.
Well, we're talking about them, we're talking about them now, and
because it's
a
story,
gets
isn't it?
slated. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I find it fascinating. A lot of people, I do these, and everyone says, Az hating on Man United again and all that. I genuinely have a real soft spot for Manchester United. I always have done. They were the team I supported as a kid before I got into Brighton because my dad was taking me to games and things. Like I loved watching them under the Ferguson reign. Players like, even going back to like Cantona when I first started watching football, but going into the 2000s with Rooney, Tevez, Ronaldo, like Berbatov, all those players, they are like such a fundamental part of why I'm so into football in the way I am. So I don't like seeing them struggle. I know a lot of people disagree.
Most people will.
Yeah, you will.
We like to see a giant fall, don't we?
Of course you do. Of course you do. But I don't have that I don't have that feeling with them. If it was like a Liverpool or a Chelsea or a Man City now, I would probably have a bit of that joy. But I don't have that joy with Man U. I think it's sad to like see, and I said to Man the other day, like it's more of a surprise when they win than when they lose. And when you look back at the Ferguson years and what he built, it must be hard for him, right? Can you imagine being Ferguson, seeing what they've become?
We'll go back to what you said about David Moyes. If they'd known what the next 12 years had been like, they'd have given him a bit more time, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think they probably would.
But like at the point they sacked Moyes, they couldn't qualify for the Champions League with 4 games to go, and I don't think they'd finished lower than 3rd.
Yeah,
from the start of the Premier League to that point. So even that was a huge drop off. To see where they finished last year is barely believable. Yeah. And even the fact you lost to Spursy in the final is so many things. It was people in the media, neutrals, who just thought United only had to turn up in the final because it's a reputation of United, but it carries the size and the weight of expectation, etc. I think these next few games are really important, or they'll end up changing. But I think ultimately this will probably get decided not by me, you, or maybe even United's hierarchy, but probably by the players. Do the players still believe in it? Because I think it sounds like the hierarchy there probably wants to back him if they can. But if the players start getting restless and questioning certain things, you've got.
And they will, right? These are prima donna players these days. Like you see it across all the different clubs. These are players on massive wages who have an excuse. The manager is the first scapegoat for a lot of teams.
But then United fans will be well aware they've been through this with their players and their squad. Yeah. And I realise there's a lot of new players there now. But they've been through this so many times where it's like, okay, right, so the players have pushed this manager out. You're going to start doing it for the next one.
But why have they not prioritised? Why have they not prioritised like a Baleba over signing a load of 10s to then play Ahmad at right wing?
Well, actually, their defensive numbers weren't too bad last year. It was scoring the goals was a huge problem for them. Again, you even saw that in the Europa League final. Actually, scoring and creating was more of a problem than actually their defensive work was largely fine. Now you look at them, though, what they've done for years is they've patchwork stuff. So they put plaster on something. You buy Casemiro, it's like a plaster for a year. That feels one problem.
Well, it started with Van Persie.
But then you've got like 2 problems. Yeah, you're right. I mean, even that was under Ferguson. And it's worth saying Van Persie had one incredible season at United.
What a player he was.
But they do that a lot. So now you look and you go, it's a problem to score goals last year. Okay, right, you got Bumo and Cunha in. What they did, you guys will probably know, probably the 2 biggest overperformers for XG last year, weren't they? So get them in. They're brilliant individual players. But now you've got a midfield that essentially gets overrun and outnumbered most weeks. Doesn't move around the pitch very well, and you haven't got a goalkeeper. Lemons might be good. You might as well just get on with it and get him in the team and see, because Bienda, I mean, I wouldn't rank that probably above. He's not better than Rose at Sunderland as like an example. I don't think.
Yeah. Yep. Do you think the I can't remember what the new goalkeeper's called. Was his name like
Lemons?
Lemons, yeah.
Lemons.
Yeah.
Let's hope it's not a lemon for him.
Any hope for him? The name. I've
never seen him play as, so
the name suggests a headline, doesn't it?
I think get him in the team, because I can't believe it'd be much worse than Bienda.
Yeah, that's
I mean, if you asked me to rank the 20 Premier League goalkeepers that started last weekend, Bienda would be, I guess, bottom 5 at best.
Yeah, well, it says a lot. Okay, we'll come off from United now. Final thing though, prediction: United this season. Where do they finish? Top 10?
5th.
5th.
Yeah.
Wow.
because they'll get a new manager in a month. They'll go on a run because ultimately they have got some very good players. Don't have European competition to compete against. Really, that's where they should be roughly this year. So if Tottenham, Newcastle, Villa, these other clubs get bogged down with stuff, the individual quality they've got, if you put it collectively, how many of us have sat there recently and gone, if you put that United team in a 4-2-3-1, what it could look like, could turn very quickly, mate.
It's just 2 plays on the left.
Yeah, I think they'll probably end up changing in a month or so, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're sitting here this time next year and they're playing Champions League football.
If they finish 5th this season, I will literally bow to you as the greatest oracle in football history, because I cannot see any way in which that team finishes 5th.
They won't if this continues the way it is. And if you said to me now, Amrim stays for the whole season, and they don't get sort out the goalkeeper issue, they don't sort out the midfield issue, and they continue to play this system, then no, I don't think that they'll finish that high. I think they're probably going to struggle for top half as it is. But I think we also should acknowledge that they have had tough fixtures so far this season.
Yeah, I'm going to say 10th. Not great. Not another great
I'm going to
season
say
for
they'll be playing Champions League football next year with a different manager.
Oh, I mean, clip that, because if that happens, you are a god.
Well, I hope I'm wrong, because it's probably my team that will bloody finish 6th for it. So.
You're going to win the Champions League. What are you talking
yeah,
about?
Of course.
It's
Yeah. By the way, 5th will so likely be Champions League next year.
Yeah. Okay, let's do something a bit more fun then. Let's talk about Man United. I want to talk about the Brighton Spurs combined 11. A lot of people won't care about this. I don't care. It's my stream. I'll do what I want.
Got to go now.
Well, I think it's an interesting one, because I thought you were going to come on here a bit more enthused by what you'd seen from Spurs. And actually, you're being a bit more critical about the attack. And
listen,
I know.
It got so bad last year, mate. Look at my edge, mate. Look what they've done to me. Come on.
Your beard is looking greyer than I've seen.
Yeah, but that's because I keep going to all these away games. I can't afford a razor. Two good teams on their day, right? Yeah.
But I think you nailed it earlier. You never really know what you're going to get. We go to top teams, both of us, and we play well. We've both beaten City, and it all looks really, really great and really rosy. And then teams play a low block against us. We struggle. We can't break them down. There's problems with attack. It's just jointed, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you have the slight advantage now in that your team actually looks like it can defend, whereas our team does not look like it can do that. Dunk is done. Like he's probably been done for like the last 2 years, but he's a leader and a captain. I get that, but we've signed good replacements for him, and I think his time in the team is probably coming to an end. But yeah, I'm interested to know who you would take from our team, because when I thought about this earlier, Spurs players were definitely at the forefront of my mind. We had maybe a couple, but yeah, should we go through it? Who should we? Sure. Who should we pick? I mean, I can sort of update this live as we go. So, in goal, you've got Verbruggen versus Vicario.
I'm going to back my guy here.
Yeah,
I know he's come under a lot of scrutiny, but it's interesting. New managers in, we defend properly on set plays and stuff, and no one's questioning it now. I think Verbruggen's got a lot of potential, but there's been disappointing moments amongst that as well. Actually, probably primarily more about his shot stopping, actually. Yeah. Still relatively young, I think. But I wouldn't take Verbruggen over Vicario personally.
I think the problem with Verbruggen is he's regressed a little bit. Like, he's signed and he was such a big replacement to the goalkeepers we've had previously. Like an international goalkeeper, looked really composed, great with his feet, looked perfect. And then I've watched him over the years and he just... The fundamentals, what you want, the ability to make good decisions, to come out at the right time, to claim crosses, they've all seemed to just go away from him a little bit. Whereas Vicario, I mean, replacing Lloris was a big ask, because Lloris is an unbelievable goalkeeper like on his day. I mean, I get towards the end, maybe things started to go a bit, but still, it was big shoes to fill.
I can't believe he stayed with us as long as he did, because I think when we got hold of him, he was probably top 5 in the world, and I think he was for probably 5 years after that. Yes, since probably 2020, it began to regress, and he was never great with his feet. But in terms of all the other aspects of goalkeeping, Hugo was top. But it's worth saying both these keepers are still young in terms of goalkeeper terms, so they can both still develop.
I'd take Vicario.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Back four. I mean, is there a case for any Brighton defenders here? I mean, I would the only defender I think I can make a case for out of Porro, Van de Ven, Romero, Udogie / Spence on the Brighton side is Van Heck. But does Van Heck come in over Van de Ven and Romero?
Well, I mean, ultimately, it's Van Heck versus Romero, isn't it? So
yes.
It's not. It's all Tottenham, unbelievably. But the remarkable thing about this is, and this is, I said this a lot last year about the way they defend. To tell you, the individual players aren't a problem with how we defend. As a unit, individually, they're strong. Just as a unit, they were terrible. Now they're obviously beginning to play like a unit. So Van Heck is a player I really, really like. I think he's got a really bright career ahead of him, whether it's with yourselves or moves on.
Absolutely brilliant player.
It would have to be, it's Romero over Van Heck, it's Van de Ven over Dunk, it's Porro over V for Veltman, whatever you want to do with it. I don't think we could put enough on De Kuyper or Kadioglu to say that's better than the Tottenham options. So please make sure you put Udogie at left back, mate.
Well, I was going to say Udogie or Spence.
Yeah, Udogie all day for me. And there's a lot of Tottenham fans who disagree with that, but it's not close in my opinion.
Do you think it's closer between Udogie and Porro then?
What do you mean?
Well, if Spence or Porro. Like if Spence is going to come into the team,
Jed's done quite well. I think like his development over the last year is a brilliant story to the fact that he's got himself to an England call up and also playing out of position. He's still learning it, right? I mean, he's a right back by trade. He's taken his chance really well. I don't have a problem with him playing because it's like he's got the shirt. He's largely doing quite well. But I think ultimately, you even saw it at the back end of last year. As soon as Destiny got fit, those big Europa games, Destiny was in. Balance is so much better. All-round game, particularly on the ball, is a big step up. Jed is pretty good 1v1. What Spence and Udogie both have issues with is major concentration off the ball stuff. They're both still young. But yeah, if you said to me, we've got a cup final tomorrow, Destiny all day for me. And again, there's some Tottenham fans would disagree with that.
FPL Maggot says, just started watching. Hang on, I haven't got the overlay. Let me just grab the overlay. Hang on, James. This is what happens on there. Where is the overlay?
Do you want me to sing?
That would be amazing.
I think that might cost you the last few viewers you've got left, mate.
I'll take it to hear you sing, my friend. What would you sing?
What would I sing? A Saminamina.
Waka
waka, yeah, 17th, I don't know how. We won it in Bilbao. Yeah.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And look, I've got the comments up, see? Absolutely bang on that song. Just started watching, some a bit behind, but the greatest guest of them all, James, is a legend, says FPL Maggot.
Cheers, you maggot.
Look at that avatar as well, with the maggot and the dumbbells. Absolutely loving that. Martin says, shouldn't Barco have a spot in that back line? God. I'm never going to get over it. I'm never going to live that down, am I?
No, mate.
Oh, dear. Midfield. We're putting Belabor in. This is going to be our first Brighton spot, surely. I
kind of don't like this because I don't feel like... I mean, we're playing 4-3-3 at the moment, but I feel like the best setup for probably both our teams longer term is probably more of a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
Although yours can look very much like a kind of a 4-2-4 where you pair like a right-sided forward with a right winger.
We can do a 4-2-3-1 if you want.
No. It's fine. We'll have one midfielder can become a bit of a 10. Yeah, Belabor, I'm certainly happy to go in there as your central guy, mate. No issues with that.
That's good. I'm glad you said that.
That's it.
That gives us
the rest
one.
is Tottenham. Bye-bye.
That might be the only one. I reckon there's one more. No, I reckon we got one more. I mean, who else? I mean, if you've got three mids. I'd say both of our teams are pretty stacked. I mean, I like our midfield. I like Hinchelwood. I think he's future England regular. Absolutely love him as a player. Obviously, we've got Gomez as well, who looks good. Ayari, massively underrated.
Yeah, I like Ayari.
I think good player. I mean, you've got a very, very strong midfield. I mean, I'm so happy to see Bergvall getting the plaudits.
Well, Ayari's been keeping Bergvall at the Sweden team, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah, Ayari's a good player. Very good player. Unheralded. A bit like Bergvall, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I think Bergvall now, I think people are starting to look at him and go, hello. There's a bit of a player, isn't there?
And he doesn't... He's beginning to look like a man now, I think. Like, he looked like a boy a lot last year and he developed he went very kind of almost overnight with the injury problems last year. He went from a player you felt really physically couldn't do more than 45 minutes to within a couple of months looking like the fittest player in the team. He's got some engine on him now, so his next layer is obviously to do more like what we saw last year and provide the end product stuff. I mean, that's his first Premier League goal last weekend. So,
would you have him in this 11?
At this moment, I'm not sure. I'm a big fan of Rod, mate. That's Benson Courtier. I really like Rod. Baleba would be first in there as your central guy.
Bentancur is good.
I really like Rodrigo Bentancur. I think he's the most important one. Like, the team, I think, just doesn't function in terms of ball progression properly when he doesn't play. He's got, again, an amazing physical engine. It's like Paulinho is a brilliant ball winner. Rod is a better all-round footballer, and we struggle without him. So if you've got Baleba in there, I don't feel like I'd want Paulinho so much. So
I'm having Bentancur. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I
would make the case for Bentancur and then Simmons the other side as pushing on to a 10.
Okay, so you wouldn't put Simmons in the attack.
Well, this also allows me to put the timer in for you, otherwise we're going to fall out.
I mean, I'd want Hinchelwood in there. I'm just such a big fan of his. And I think he's obviously been playing for us at right back. And
the problem with Hinchelwood, you can put him in every position. I mean, he played 9 against us last season, scored twice,
and he was good. I know, this is the thing. He plays in every. In fact, I'd say central midfield is his most natural position, and it's probably where I've seen the least impressive play from him. Because at right back he delivers, at forward he delivers, and at midfield he seems to get injured or it's not quite happening for him.
It's a bit of a danger. I was going to say a danger of him becoming a bit of a Milner, but if he has a career like James Milner, he's obviously going to have a great career, isn't he? But Milner was like that for a long time, wasn't he? It was like, well, we've got a problem. We'll play him here, there, and everywhere. Hinchelwood is nothing like him as a player. I mean, Milner really primarily at the same age was a winger, right? Yeah, I really like Jack Hinchelwood. It depends. What do you want to do? Do you want to have 3 midfield players, or do you want to have someone who can play a 10?
Yeah,
like
let's go with midfield players.
Then
we can argue about Matoma versus Simmons. That'd be fun.
Okay, if it's going to be a 3, then I think we're putting Bergvall in there. Then
it's Hinchelwood versus Bergvall, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Bergvall, isn't it? Come
on. I don't know if I'm happy with that.
I know it's your stream, but you're just wasting people's time, mate.
So if you were offered a straight swap Bergvall to Hinchelwood, you wouldn't take it.
Barman, your man needs a drink.
I wouldn't take it.
No, I get you wouldn't take it because he's yours and also he's come through your academy, so it obviously means a lot to you. But he hasn't defined a position yet.
How much do I love you to put Bergvall in over Hinchelwood?
I think if you're not going to do Bergvall, then put Sarr in instead, which I'm not that bothered about it as. But yeah, Bentancur, Baleba definitely, and then one more. And you're going to go Bergvall.
We'll put Bergvall in.
Yeah, obviously, inevitable.
It's fine. It's fine.
Put Kudus on the right.
One Brighton player so far.
Put Kudus on the right.
Mikel, who cares? This team is obviously going to be shit anyways. You know what, Mikel, right? I saw you. You've been commenting all stream, and I've thought every time you've commented, love these comments. Witty, good content. You know, I should have flagged more up, and I haven't. And that's on me. And then you post something like that. Terrible.
I didn't have the heart to tell Mikel that this wasn't going to work out very well for him, so I just let him go.
No, I knew. I did say
Tottenham players in there.
I said before we started, I knew this wasn't going to be great. I'm just interested how we're going to fit Rutter into the team. To be honest, that's the main thing. You know.
Yeah, you can have him as the 9.
He's going to be playing as a 9. What, over Richarlison, Solanke?
Yeah, you can have him if you want.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly fussed about any of them.
And Matoma on the left?
Yeah, Mitoma left, fine, yeah.
I mean,
really, Simmons right. should go in there somewhere. But yeah, Mitoma left, I'm happy with. Kudos right.
Kudos? No.
It's our best player, mate. You okay?
Kudos over Minte?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not happy with that.
I mean, between the two of them, we probably won't get 5 attacking returns in fantasy all season. But Kudos.
I'd rather have Johnson. Yeah, did it.
I think my screen just froze as at the listen. That's Johnson's one good trait is obviously scoring.
I'd have Johnson over both of them.
I like Minter. Is really good. What I would say about that is I think Minter has the capability to be a very, very special player. He showed what I liked when you played City. I felt he was beginning to show a little bit more directness and also, very importantly, off the ball work. So I think we like him when he carries. Like, he's a good threatening player. But against City, he was showing the desire to get into positions, which is something I hadn't seen before. I really like him. You know, I love Mitoma, so I got no qualms on Mitoma.
Interesting point in the chat about Maddison and Decky, right? Like, you've got two great players, both injured. I mean, would they
no
make
Brighton
into this team fully fit?
Take Baleba out. Take them all out. Yeah. Not considered at the moment as not fit. So I would want to go here. Kudus right, Mitoma left, a 9 for me. I would say Solanke.
I'd take Solanke because I think he is the best 9 in both our teams when he's fit. I'll take Mitoma. I would argue Minte over Kudus though. I would rather have Minte. If you offered me a straight swap Minte of Kudus to Minte, I wouldn't take it.
Yeah, that's fine. Neither would I, mate. Otherwise, we'd have just bought him, wouldn't we?
No, we don't sell. We don't sell to.
Do you know who I am, mate?
Okay. Do you know what? I'm going to do that one as a poll, and we'll take whoever the poll winner is, and that could be the final decision.
Yeah, but they're going to know that Kudus is worth about $1 million more in fantasy, and there's a reason why.
How fickle do you think our fans are, James?
Football fans or your viewers? As
my loyal viewers, who I'm so grateful, all 704 of them.
I think they would probably take pleasure and joy in disagreeing with you again.
You do know them well.
Yeah, I definitely do.
So we're going Mitoma left.
Yeah, Mitoma left you can have, and then Solanke and Kudus.
Solanke.
Simmons should be in there somewhere, but the structure's not right.
No, we haven't decided on Kudus yet. We've done the poll. And we're going to leave that going for 1 more minute till 35. So it's come up on the screen quickly. Pick it, and then we'll go from there.
All
it's fairly even at the moment. We've only had 58 votes. Come on, 60 votes. Come on.
What are you going to do for the 60 seconds in the meantime? You're going to tell us how many you beat us by tomorrow?
I'm going to sing.
You're going to sing?
Yep.
Okay, go on.
Good old Sussex by the Sea, which you'll be hearing tomorrow at the Brighton Ground.
Can't wait, yeah. It's so loud
Going up, we're going to win the cup. Good old Sussex by the Sea.
Okay. It's a very intimidating place, is Brighton.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The most intimidating thing about Brighton's the bloody seagulls.
They bloody are. They are mad.
Suj hates them. Don't speak to Suj about seagulls.
I mean, I've only moved here. I moved here a week ago, and I knew about the seagulls, obviously. Like, I've been to Brighton many times, but the size of them is like, it takes you by surprise. They're like pelican size, like some of them.
They don't care for you, mate.
Absolutely bloody ridiculous. Right, 35. We got the poll. Kudus has won. Let's not dwell too much on that. That's fine. That's taken out of my hands. That gives me something against my dad, who would be saying Minte, I'm sure. Not biased at all. Kudus. I'm not.
I mean, you just, you said it.
It's the output, isn't it? I mean, the output is
he's got to improve top end of the pitch. That will come, hopefully. What he is extraordinarily strong. It sticks to him like a really good number 9, actually, in terms of his back to goal stuff. And when he carries the ball in full flight, it's a great sight. But as I've been saying on our content, like, for me, it's just not a fantasy option at the moment. It just doesn't look like he's going to score. Essentially the only effort he's had in all the games for us, and that includes the friendlies, was from Porro's cross at 3-0 up against West Ham, and that was after he moved into central area for the last 10 minutes. So he hasn't looked like scoring at all from right wing. Simmons is punty. That's probably the best. I know people want to look at Tottenham because the next 3 fixtures.
This is it. We can come on to the player picks. I've got Xavi right there because I want to get your take on him. Is he a pick? Is he a shout?
It's a punt.
It's a punt.
It's a punt.
You said you wouldn't be surprised if he didn't start this weekend.
I don't think we should be that surprised if that's the case, because he's just played extensive minutes having just joined the football club across 2 games. So I would look at it and think, well, he'll rotate the whole team against Doncaster in midweek in the cup. So he should pick close to his strongest team tomorrow, but I think he is very much into understanding players and their recovery, etc. And it's obviously a good impact sub he could use. I'd say I probably would be surprised if I got there tomorrow and he's not in the team, but it won't shock me. Let me put it that way. I would fully expect him to start. I understand people want to look at Tottenham players because although tomorrow is a challenge, and you and I both think it will be a home win, just probably different types of games in terms of.
I think I'm saying that more out of like hope than you're. I don't.
You're a good side against the better sides, and my team is hopefully becoming a better side now. So Simmons is punty.
I fear you more than I have done in the last couple of years.
Yeah, because there's different avenues, and plus we're now harder to hurt as well. You knew you could hurt us on transition so easily under Ange. Wolves and Leeds after Brighton obviously really appeals for people. I get that.
Yeah. Would you consider...
There's a punt element to it. I certainly wouldn't look him as a long-term pick yet.
That's the question, right? Would you consider Simmons as a wildcard pick?
Would I consider him as a wildcard pick? Yeah, I would consider him, but I wouldn't be looking at him as like a glue player who's definitively going to sit there for me. I'd be, right, we'll have to assess this again after game week 8 or game week 9.
I don't know what is with some of my favourite...
After 8, sorry.
Yeah. I don't know what is with some of my favourite people in the chat tonight. We got Dr. David, 1963. I see him on all my streams. Love him. He's on the scout things, everything. We're spending way too much time on this, he says. What's this got to do with FPL? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Dr. David. I've got plenty of FPL James. I want to talk about Spurs and Brighton. It's at the weekend. It doesn't always need to be about FPL. Come on. Picks, other wildcard picks. So, other players we haven't really talked about. Reinders got his picture on the screen.
What happened to all them people who after game week 1 would send all their tweets and saying, any of us who watched Serie A last year knew that you had to have him? Seems to have gone a bit quiet, no?
If he scores the goal against United, everyone's got him.
I agree, yeah. I'm not criticising them people. No, I think he's a very good pick. This week is awkward, isn't it, because of the fixture, but yeah, I think the reason not to have him, say if you're wildcarding in 6, reason not to pick him would be you've got some confidence in Foden.
Yeah, I mean, I like him. I'm glad I started with him. It's hard to be disappointed with a player who...
It's because he just took you to such a high on game week 1. He elevated your expectations. I haven't got a 5.5 million midfielder. I've got a 7.5. And you probably realise now, yeah, he probably is still underpriced, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's probably within the expectations of what you really thought.
Yeah, when you compare him to like Casado, Anderson, Dewsbury Hall, he's matching them, right? Dewsbury Hall's had one big haul.
He's scoring 1 and 2, isn't he? So it's just the fact that it all came at the start.
The thing is, he's still a 90-minute man, we think, at City, who gets forward. Like, Haaland could have squared the ball to him. He was never going to, but he could have done. I'm saying he was still the man who was, like, along with him, for that goal. He could have had a goal himself. He's still... You're getting like an advanced midfield player for Man City for 5.6. There's not a lot not to like. I'd still pick him over.
I might get him in and captain him next week. So, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing yet, right? So, look, he's perfectly reasonable at his value. What I would say is, if you've got like you're not thinking of selling him, surely?
No way. No, he's locked in. Like there's, I think you need a player in that £5 to £6 million bracket, and he is, to me, by far the best.
All right.
By far. Another player I do like is Declan Rice. Not seeing much clamour for him. He came off the bench in the last game. Couple of assists in the games before that. Good fixtures for Arsenal. I'd say nailed on, even though he obviously did miss that game. Saka back. Does that affect Madueke, as a Trossard, all those players? I like Rice. No one's really talking about him. Would you consider him?
Probably not, no.
Good.
I'd want consistency of DEFCONs, which I'm not convinced will be there. I mean, he's an amazing footballer.
But is the sacrifice of maybe a lack of DEFCONs that he plays a bit more advanced?
Yes, maybe, but is there a chance that if Eze's going to play off the left regularly enough, is he going to almost get in those zones a little bit where Rice likes to attack from deep? Is a possibility.
But then does that mean Rice picks up the
There's a bit of a theory that one of the reasons Calafiori is playing so much is that he pushes up the touchline, it gets Eze off of left into 10 positions, and Rice sits in a bit deeper with Azubimendi to counter on the fact that you've got a more offensive left back. So I think you could use that story either way, and you probably get something in between the two on different occasions for Arsenal this season. It would be a no for me. I think you're relying a lot on set-piece stuff. And I think there's other midfielders at a similar price I could rely on and say there's maybe a bigger ceiling on it.
They are good set pieces.
They're very good at set pieces.
And if we think about Simons, for example, do you think... I mean, he's obviously got a good in-swinger from that side. I mean, do you think...
I don't think we can judge it on our West Ham defend corners versus other teams, ultimately. So,
would you go Simons over Rice?
If I was wildcarding right now, yes.
Okay. I like Rice.
But it's also because I'd be thinking of... Ideally, they're one of the best teams. So I want the very best of what I can get from that. And I don't think that he's one of the three best Arsenal assets. I would want... Gyökeres, Saka and Gabriel, or if not Saka is not available, double defence.
Yeah, double defence. That's it. It does block you out of that. Yeah, fair. I think he's probably going to end up on my wildcard team, though, Rice. I've been banging on about him all pre-season. And other than that benching, I mean, unless that's going to be a more regular thing where after Champions League games he might be a bit more at risk, but he's too important, surely, to risk benching.
He is, but with the depth they've got now, do they need to start him at home to Nottingham Forest?
These teams have got too much depth. Mbeumo?
Yeah, quite like this, actually. Tough game this weekend, obviously, but the next two really appeal in terms of a player that might go off very briefly. I don't really love what they've got after those next two, but if you were looking at a wild card 8 as an example, I'd really like him as a pickup at the moment.
Yep. And then the final one I had was I just had Slot here, just Liverpool in general. We spoke about them a bit.
Put the Tottenham team back up with the one Brighton player.
Yeah, that was nice. That was good times. What would you do with Liverpool if you were wildcarding in the next few weeks? Would you just avoid completely?
If you're wildcarding this week, then that's tough to do. Like, I still left Van Dijk in, the one I showed you earlier. I think if it's after this week, there's a case. I would say at this moment, Van Dijk and Gakpo are very competitive in terms of players that I think I'd be happy to hold for the longer term. But if I went Gakpo, I'd want to take less risks with the rest of my team. But Gakpo does feel like he could be consistently just very good around about that price. Like how you felt about Wirtz, basically. And I think you will want a Liverpool defensive asset over the winter period. There's every case we'll all be steaming into Frimpong over that period for obvious reasons. But over the period where rotation is probably going to bite the bum pretty badly, Virgil van Dijk will be very safe from that perspective. And Defcons is high at the moment. I know they've had some tough fixtures, but it looks really good at the moment. I think it's only Casado who's got more Defcons than him.
Yeah, there you go. There is a couple more. Adams at Bournemouth, Senesi has more, and
they beat my team the other week, so I forgot about him.
But Van Dijk is high. I think he's higher than a lot of people thought.
I think that's 50%. One of the surprising ones is him.
Yeah. It's really interesting with Liverpool. I think they're a fascinating team this season because there is going to be rotation. There are going to be players that come in and out. It's going to be timing, I think, with them. Like, can you time a run where Isak not only starts but scores loads of goals? Can you time, because Wirtz is going to hit it at some point. He's too good not to. You know, every club in Europe was desperate for his signature over the summer, and there's an adjustment period to the Premier League. We know that. I think it's only maybe I'm being too I don't know, optimistic about it, but I think it's going to come for him. I think Gakpo looks a great option. And it only takes one injury, right? If there's an injury to Isak or Ekitike or someone, then immediately the player who is waiting in the wings becomes that nailed-on option. So, yeah, really, really interesting.
I tell you what I wouldn't want to do is book myself into free Liverpool at the moment. Because if Isak...
well, that's it.
You got to leave that door open, I think.
Yeah. I think you want a defender. I think, like you say, you want like a Van Dijk or someone like that. But other than that, I think you can make a case of going without or going with one of them and just sort of hoping for the best.
How many 1-pointers do you think Frimpong will get in December? He's going to be all the rage, isn't he?
Yeah, with Bradley around as well.
Yeah, but he'll play instead of Salah right wing, won't he?
If he plays right wing, I'm doing it.
Well, of course, we all are, mate. But we all know what the result will probably be.
It's classic though, isn't it? It's just build. It's just build for those 1-pointers. But there might be like a 17, 18-pointer. And I don't want to be the person who doesn't get that 18-pointer. Even though I've withstood like 9 blanks, like in and around that period. But
well, we flagged him to come full circle on the stream. Is when in pre-season we looked at triple captaincy options. We obviously looked at kind of best chances for Salah, Haaland, Palmer, your regulars. But we did look at this period where Frimpong presumably plays right wing and has got Wolves at home in 18 and Leeds at home in 19.
Yeah.
Now, who wants to leave it that late? But I mean, if you were going to swing for the trees, maybe one of those 2 fixtures could be absolutely amazing.
Do you know what? You've been quite negative around, leaving your chips later on in the season. We're going to end on that because I think that is a lovely end. If you do want to wait and you could smash it on a player like that towards the end of the season, you're either going to hit a 1-pointer or you're going to hit a 25-pointer. And that's what FPL is all about, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably going to be the former, but well sold, yeah.
I think that's almost certain. James, it has been
Thank you.
A pleasure. Absolute pleasure. I hope you can come on again before the end of the season. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Loads of great comments. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. And I really, really, really hope you lose tomorrow, James.
Thanks. I really, really hope you lose tomorrow. I don't think you will. Can everyone just smash a like while we're here, please, as well, yeah?
Thank you very much. If you're enjoying, smash a like, subscribe to BlackBox. Also check out FPL Planet, of course. Planet FPL, sorry.
I ain't spending no money in that stadium tomorrow now.
I get that wrong I can't remember why. No, do check out Planet FPL. Look at all the great content that's going on over there. Join us at Patreon as well. You get even more content. You get far more bang for your buck than you do on our Patreon, if you're listening, Caleb.
But you should support Az and BlackBox on Patreon too, like I do.
You do. You're in the Predictions League, aren't you? And lots of other things. It's very nice.
Yeah, you were getting upset, kept reading my name out most of the last season. I'm sure you won't this season.
You're not in the top 10 this year, so...
No, probably not.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, everyone. And it will be Andy and I again on Wednesday. James, when's your next big
deadline stream 10 o'clock in the morning and then go to Brighton?
Yeah, ignore all the others. You don't need a Harry, a Raptor, a Folk, or any of those.
If you want proper FPL advice, I suggest you listen to one of those guys. If you want a bit of banter for an hour, join me.
Perfect. That's what it's all about. Lovely
Cheers,
stuff.
mate.
Thanks, everyone. See you next week.